All right, 1:31, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next up is a roll call. President is Carl Saparelli.
Robert Lewis.
Ed Moore,
Paul Leogrand.
David Ruth.
And next, do you have any public comments? Anyone out online?
And I make a motion.
Hold on.
We can't hear anything.
Anything?
You can't hear us?
Oh,
Nobody's
now I
talking.
can, now I can.
Nobody was talking.
Yeah.
No one was talking, yeah.
Talking.
It was a game we play.
Angela, I guess there's somebody online. We have public comment. Angela, do you want to speak? This is Carrie Runyon. Okay,
No, I don't need to speak. Sorry.
okay, that's fine.
All right. The next agenda item is going to be the approval of the minutes.
Wait a minute, I'd like to make a motion to add a public comment at the end of the meeting as well, like number 8, last time we did that. And for people that come in late or the people that want to hear what we have to say today can make a comment at the end.
And your name?
David Ruth, I'm sorry.
Anybody want to second it?
Oh, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next agenda item is going to be the approval of the April 2nd meeting. I'm going to make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excuse me, the next agenda item is going to be the financial report. No financial report on it? Okay. All right, so the next agenda item is going to be the Parks and Rec survey.
Stick you wrong. No, I did it wrong, Georgia. Okay. Okay, this is the Parks and Recreation survey that was discussed previously. It's obviously, there's gonna be a town hall meeting on June 26th from 6 to 7:30 at the Gateway Church. You can either go there or you can actually join online. It's the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee issued a community survey in February to gauge the community interest in recreation facilities and programming, especially for our new upcoming building. Building on that effort, the online survey aims to ensure all transparency to the Gateway Services CDD, development of the Gateway Commons, where we're putting the new administration building and courts. This feedback will help ensure the community's needs and financial considerations are adequately met in the development process. So this survey that everyone will have the opportunity to take will close on July the 5th. So you can scan the backside of the postcard. There's going to be a postcard mailed to each Gateway resident. You can scan that and then do the survey. It's very minimal. Minimal amount, yeah. So I can, let me see if I could find it. And I know I did it wrong again. I should put the other thing.
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet, yes. but I'm going to show you the survey itself so you can see a little more information. There's a phase 1 master site plan, and there's a phase 2, which is also the entrance road and proposed parking spaces, drainage, stormwater system, wastewater, water facilities, sports courts, which includes pickleball, bocce ball, basketball, paddleball, walking and biking trails, playground, other miscellaneous things. So here's the final master plan for phase 2. And then when you come down, it starts the actual survey. And it asks you which community you live in. It goes on to ask you age group. Do you have anybody under the age of 18 in your home? Any resident details, employment status. It goes on and on. When do you use the parks? How often? And there's only 10 questions, so it doesn't take that long to go through and master this survey. So that's what this is about if you have any further questions.
When is it planned on being mailed out? Soon?
Yes, probably within the next couple weeks. Yes, be in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Okay. Again, you'll have survey will close on the 5th of July, so the day after 4th of July. But there will be a town hall meeting on the 26th of June to discuss anything regarding the survey and anything with the commons area, the new Gateway Commons facilities.
So, question that I have,
Mhm.
town hall's gonna be in June. This ends July 5th.
Mhm.
Why are we not ending it the day of the town meeting?
I think it's for the information that some people might not know or understand or get a late, they might go to this town hall and then want to take the survey.
Okay.
They want to find out probably more information and then take the survey.
All right.
That gives them another week opportunity to do that.
Is that the only way you could take it, is just by scanning this? Is it gonna be on the website or anything, like the Gateways page, where you can hit a link or something?
Cannot answer that question, but these postcards will be mailed out to the homes. So you should be receiving this in your mail. Any Gateway resident,
All right.
Has the verbiage already been set? This is all done,
yes,
finalized, going?
yes,
Then I have no comment.
okay. Any further questions?
All right, so moving on to the next agenda item is gonna be the fun park amenities discussion. So we had a few people email different ideas, so I don't know who wants to go first. Dave, you wanna go first? Give us your idea?
Yeah, I can go first. It wants to take it. You guys all got that last.
Yeah, from last week.
This was what we talked about last time. Did you get one of these last time? You hear? That's for the community. Just an idea, toss it around today. Just you have a copy. Okay, we had a glitch in the computer. You're trying to get it on screen.
Just that, just say your name, so
Oh.
we know who's.
David Ruth, I'm just passing out some diagrams here. I had a little bit of time after last meeting to go over to the fun part and kind of walk it off and make a little diagram, which is the first page. First page is basically what's there. Okay, it's not totally to scale because I use my legs to measure things with. But I walked off the yardage and I think I got pretty close. I did it a couple of times just to make sure. We're talking about a site that's 165 feet across from the parking lot, across the field to 546 feet long. And last time in our meeting, we had some good ideas come out of that. I think the Zen Park was one of the ideas that I think Ed brought forth, and other people talked about maybe having a garden that had like plants from Florida, identifiable to people, so people could go and study. And there's a group of people here in, I think, Lee County, that they have and I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a big deal. A lot of people try to become florists. Yeah, and they learn all about the area. But the idea that you're looking at here was basically extending, there's a drive that takes you to Eagle Point. There's a drive that same drive takes you into the parking lot. If you look at the existing, there's about 14 cars parked in the parking lot. The basketball court and the sand volleyball and the play area are going to eventually be moved over to the commons area. So we've got a big field, in which to work. So I started looking at it in zones, and if we would put some kind of a racetrack or some kind of an extension of the pathway that brings you into alongside the road, and you extend it on over, we could make some kind of a track or something where people could actually walk around the park. And in the middle, we could do different ideas. And the idea that I started with was a skills park, a park that basically kids could learn how to run, jump, kick, do all the things that we ask them to do when they're young. And then we just turn them loose and tell them to go play basketball at the school or go play football or soccer. And some of these kids have been on those soccer fields since they were 3 years old. And when you send your kid over in the 5th grade, those kids just eat them alive. And same way with basketball. I played basketball in college. And I know growing up, the big kids were the guys who monopolized the courts, and you had to grow and you had to get stronger. And so this is, in my mind, is considered to be a feeder park that kids would learn skills with their parents, with coaches, with people that would, come out of their houses and say, hey kid, I can show you how to throw a baseball better than that. And so, we would have enough area, and I didn't know if we had enough area. So that's what the first thing I was looking at. Do we have enough area to do all these things? Again, a lot of good ideas come out of this thing. And well, I said, if we build, and this isn't the design, this is just the idea on paper. But if we build, again, the racetrack, let's call it the racetrack, and then put things inside the racetrack for people to learn how to do certain things or to train. Okay. And so basically along the outside, we could put, different skill stations. That's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all those things are. You can put as many as you want or as few as you want. But inside, we need an area for yoga. That was one of the things being taught there now. So I was thinking down at the one end where, we could even maybe do a different grass there. It could be almost like a putting green. You could use it for a putting green when the yoga people aren't there, something that's fun. Then you'd have an area for soccer. And I'm not talking about making another soccer field, because the soccer fields we already have, but this is a place where kids can go and kick a ball, learn how to kick a ball and work on their shots. Okay. Then there's enough area in there to put a little league baseball diamond. Okay. So, and I was thinking when this thing started, I was thinking that first of all, we need a wall that kids can bounce a ball up against and throw up against and play pickleball against or play tennis against or shoot the wall, and with the basketball, turn around and take a shot. So if you need to have a wall, you might as well put a bathroom in there. We need a bathroom, according to Bob. And so I put in 2 small, a man and women's bathroom, which the wall would be part of that. And then a way to get in from each end as you go around the track. And then that wall, if you put a fence up, you would have a place to throw targets, throw baseballs against, throw something against. You don't want to throw hard objects against a concrete block wall, because you'll eventually crack the block. So, something that would protect the walls that are there for the bathrooms, and to be able to go around, to stand behind, you know, just like you would in a baseball situation. You know, you don't want to stand behind the catcher, you know, you want something between the catcher and the pitcher. But there is a place to, you know, to pitch from and to throw at targets. And then I was thinking that you could do a pickleball, maybe a small pickleball or a pickleball court there so kids could play, adults could play to learn how to learn the game and then go over and play in the commons area. Basketball is a place where you could do a basketball, and that could have an 8-foot rim, you know, that goes up to 10 foot. Yeah, but I would think primarily you'd want to do it for, you know, kids to learn how to shoot. And then you know, when I was growing up, the hot game was hot foursquare. And you learn how to spin balls and you learn how to throw balls and you learn how to, you know, beat up all the different people. So anyway, don't take what I said.
That last part.
Scratch the last part. Anyway, there's up in the upper right-hand corner, I was thinking of the Zen maze. There's a little place there where you could put large shrubbery to begin with, and, you know, somehow make a maze to get into the middle, which would be the, you know, the focal point. And then the 4 corners that are white would be where the game zones where you could play chess and checkers or whatever. Those are 15 feet square. Okay. And that gives you the room to do a lot of different things in there. And then if you move on down, there's a place for the nature garden, the Florida nature garden is probably what should be defined as. But anyway, and there's also an opportunity for a butterfly garden. People like, you know, a net with butterfly situations in it. So that's kind of like a lot of pieces put into our site. And if we extend the parking, I assume this is going to be successful. So we could extend the parking if we want to. Right now, there's 14 parking spots. There's the ability to put, I think, about 50 to 52 spaces, and then create through negotiations with the church driveway to make a way out on that end, which I think the church would probably step over backwards to agree to something like that. And that's about it. It's kind of a combination of the restrooms, the Zen garden, the nature garden, and the skills park all put together with yoga as a primary feature. And you don't have to do all of it at once. You could do pieces of it as the budgets will allow. Thank you.
I mean, I think it's Paul Leogran, I think it's an amazing use of the space. I think it's excellent. It brings features over there that don't exist now. I think it definitely be used. I like the idea of not having full courts. Maybe a full pickleball is fine, but you know, we're not having big matches over there. Like Dave said, I really like that idea. You know, that kind of stuff can move over to the commons, but having the half court, I think makes a lot of sense. You know, the yoga I think is awesome. I would kind of feel yoga maybe brought over to the garden area somewhere, so it's kind of quiet away from the track and the sports that are going on. But I mean, that's just, you know, minor layout. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's a really great use of space, and excited about it. Oh.
Anybody else?
Well, Bob Lewis here. Where you have the bathroom facilities, I don't believe that's going to be close to electric or plumbing or sewage, so it's not going to be able to be there without a tremendous amount of space. You have to recall that one of the reasons that was cited by the community that borders this park is with the dogs, is they don't want to hear dogs barking. I like pickleball as a sport, but there's no other sport as noisy as pickleball. And I would not want to be being a resident back there listening to pickleball. The basketball court, the same thing. It backs up right against those houses. I don't want to have to listen to basketballs hitting the back of the basket, you know, all day. With respect to the baseball, I don't think if I was a neighbor back there, I would want to have to be laying out, enjoying the sun, and then getting hit in the abdomen or the head with a softball or a baseball that was hit back there. So I think one of the things we have to decide as a committee is, do we want this to be a quiet area or quiet and noisy? And I personally think that the neighbors there would much rather, have a quiet area so they don't have to deal with the noise. Originally, when we met over a year ago, one of the big things we wanted to do in that big open space where all the sports are is to offer to the community areas where they can have their own vegetable gardens to plant and maintain. And that is something that's not available in the community, that in other communities is very popular. So that's my opinion regarding this.
This is Ed. I love everything here. I think that the sports portion needs to go down to the Commons Pool. I think it's a great idea. I think that to have that feeder system is absolutely just a wonderful idea, but I think it belongs down at the Commons Pool. I would like to see a gazebo here instead. And like you said, Bob, with the gardens that, that people can grow. I think this would be, I think, more of a nurturing, quiet space, like you said. But I think the feeder system is really, I think it's great. I think it's just not the right spot for it. That's all.
Poliogram. I think, here in the comments, we would want to lay out the actual square footage, right? Like this is just proof of concept. But if we look at the 40-yard run for track, that's 40-yard side, straight line. So that would insinuate that, we have at least 200 yards in that area, probably, 100 the other distance. So my question is, well, it seems to be a lot of space, right?
Mhm.
So right now in the fun park, what's the noise issue there, right? When kids go and play, do we get reports from people that live over there that, it's crazy, unnecessary, that their kids are screaming and they can't be, and, is the community giving us feedback that this has to stop, or, so like what's the concern now with that?
Well, I can tell you from
Matt-
the basketball,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
they
Sorry.
shut down basketball because of noise and the kids coming from the community, parking their cars around it, lighting it
Yeah.
up and playing well into the darkness. And they didn't like the noise. They didn't like the kids coming on and bringing their boom boxes and playing loud music. So how are you going to control that? I think that if we present to the community something that's going to be quiet, 95% of the time, we won't get resistance. I think you show this, the community is going to react like they did with the dog park. Sorry, go ahead.
It makes sense. It's just how much space is needed to where sound isn't an issue is what I'm getting at. I don't know, right?
Go over.
I
go
understand
over
what
there.
you're saying, and I agree. We don't want to put boom boxes in the back of people's yards, right? But if we're dealing with hundreds of yards and we have enough space, maybe yes, we don't put the basketball hoop. It might just be a design thing. We don't put the basketball hoop against the back area there, but we'd have to see how much space is actually there. What's the barrier that we're planning on putting in, right? If it's dense trees, maybe that buffers things out. Overall, I just think that it is, it's really great, right? Maybe we move the gardens up there, have more area towards the households where the gardens sit.
All the new, this Dave Ruth, all the new landscaping that was planted there was planted there to buffer out the sound
Yeah.
of the dog park.
Right.
And the last time I was here, last 2 weeks ago, I heard people standing in the community saying, something where kids could play and they could, kick balls, and
Yeah.
we don't have a problem with that. The two ladies that they came up here and spoke last time. So, I don't think that the sound or, again, if you want to create a basketball court, I'm still of the opinion, if I made a, if I made a basketball court, and I did for my daughters, okay, who were very good basketball players. And I told you the thing of the guy the Indian group that made a pole with a hoop on it. And all the kids would shoot at that. They never had a backboard, but most kids won't come over. Most adult kids won't come over and play in a basket like that.
Right.
Okay, they won't come over if the basketball, the hoop's bent. Okay, and if you make it, so it's more, let's say, it can be flexed, okay? And the real good court is at the commons area. This gives kids in the community, the neighborhood, if you drive through some of these neighborhoods, everybody has one of these Home Depot or Dick's basketball hoop out in their driveway, and it's pulled out into the street. And there's some neighborhoods where there's 10 of those down the street, because kids are trying to learn how to play. Well, this would be the place that they could come.
Paul Leogrand, going back to Bob's comment, I agree with the basketball, right? But I think what Dave is saying is that those bigger games, or those older children, or those older kids, they go over to the commons. There's a full court there. That's where they're having their little tournaments. They can do whatever they want over there. This is for the community kids that just want to go and throw the ball around.
Are you proposing to put an age restriction on usage?
I don't think you can't put an age restriction on usage. I just think by proper design, it will make itself available for that certain realm. Like, in other words, if I'm a college kid, I'm not going to go over. Why am I going to go to this little quarter court with a bunch of my friends to try and have a basketball game? It doesn't make sense.
When I was growing
you know
up,
what I
we used to play half-court basketball because we couldn't have to.
Right.
So
We're
what are they
having a
gonna
full
do
court,
here?
but we have the luxury of being able to have both, right? So we could have this quarter or half court for just throwing around. And then if you want to have a real game, go over to the commons. That's where the real courts are. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I think that there is a place for this. Again, taking in consideration noise, we have to work all that out. But I think it makes a lot of sense.
You can't drive your car up to the basketball court like you could
Right.
over the one that we have now.
I would like to make a comment. I was not here for the evening. Oh, I'm Kaylee Lawrence. I wasn't here for the evening meeting because my son had a hockey game. So that's where I was. But I'm just curious. When they said have kids play, I mean, I know my kids have played at that park, so they love going there and think it's great. But organized play is different than like just going over there and playing. I am concerned, like definitely pickleball, loudest thing ever. I remember when they were building all those pickleball courts down in Naples, it was a huge issue for residents. And just keeping that in mind with the other sports that are over there, like, I don't know. I would be interested to hear their feedback on like organized, because to me, like if there is a Little League baseball field over there, there's going to be wanting to be teams over there that are playing. So like, are they going to be okay with that, and understanding if they're going to be
You don't
okay
have
with
to
that?
let teams go over there. This could be just 3 bases and a home plate and a place to throw the ball from. It doesn't have to be an organized league.
Well, there's a lot of, I'm just saying, I know from being a parent, there's so many leagues around that they will find their way over there is all I'm saying.
Exactly.
Because there's not enough parks to
Right.
play in.
But we have
already.
to let it, the people here have to let it be a league like they
Yeah.
did the soccer fields. Okay, and so I don't think this is not designed to be a place where every kid can
Okay.
go play. It's for the kids who are trying to learn how to play and learn how to catch a ball and learn how to hit a ball with their dads.
It's not
Or moms.
regulation. It's not like a full field. It's
Yeah.
not, nothing is, like, there's no soccer field here. There's no.
No, I knew the soccer.
Yeah,
wasn't.
I mean.
I'm talking specifically
But
about,
it's not, not right now,
Different
the
baseball.
people are looking at this as an extension of the soccer fields. And when the soccer fields aren't being used, they can go over there and put two nets up and they can play on that field. And I think that's wrong. I think that, they can go someplace else and play. this is a place to learn how to kick a ball.
So from a parental standpoint, you have a 5-year-old and you have a 14-year-old. 14-year-old wants to go play down at the pool and 5-year-old has to come here and play. As a
You
parent,
can go either.
yeah,
place.
as a
Right.
parent though, are parents going to want to split up their family on a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon? Where if we had all of the sports activities at the sports complex, at the pool area, at the commons area, they could do it all in one spot. And to me, I mean, this section is for kids and I love it. I mean, I truly do. I think it's in the wrong spot. I think it needs to be.
I guess
included.
and I think going back to my point, I think just like, I feel like when I'm looking at this, although it has a lot of great amenities, like we're getting lost with the purpose of it, in my opinion. Like, I just feel like the other area is meant for the pickleball and all the sports and all the things. And maybe we do need to consider doing smaller areas for practices and things
Right.
like that there. I just feel like we're losing the purpose of what this is. And I like, that's what I'm going back to. I love the idea of the gardening and the yoga and I just don't think that those things are meant to be together, in my opinion, because you're not going to prevent like some little kids coming over and playing while there's yoga going on. I mean, parents are not going to be happy if they're like, nope, you have to leave. There's yoga. You know what I mean? I just
Right.
think that'll cause a conflict
I do too.
of the space.
With the gardeners trying to chill out and, do some gardening and the kids playing basketball and pickleball and people trying to do yoga against, softball going on.
Yeah.
Again, I love the idea, truly do. I just think it's in the wrong spot.
And then if you're in the meditation part and you have to listen to the noise, how do you concentrate to meditate?
Okay, Carrie Running Park Supervisor, I'm just gonna throw something in here for you all to think about. You're gonna have a very busy facility over at the Commons area. That's gonna be busy. You're gonna have a lot of people coming and going, pools loud, kids are running around, we got playground, we got all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's that area. You might want to really think about, this is a smaller facility, not to compact so many things into it, but maybe phase things into it, like
Hmm.
what do you think? I mean, people talked about walking. A lot of people walk. Everybody can walk here, so at least put your walking path in. And if you want like little maybe exercise stations, a couple exercise stations, throw those in there. That's a quiet type of activity. Have your gardening area or your Zen garden, in the corner to the right. But you can also have a place off the side that they could do their yoga by the garden. So it's a calmer atmosphere. So you're just kind of moving things around a little bit. Then if anything, if you had anything, I would take the existing basketball and just half it and just have a place to shoot hoops. If little kids want to, from Eagle Point or whatever next door, want to come over, they just want to shoot, because that's about all they do right now. Because there's not a full court. You never want a full court over there. I mean, it's just,
No.
it's loud. We had issues before. We want to keep the issues down. So you might want to kind of think about phasing. What would be the priority? And then what would you like to see come in second and third? That's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
Because I know funding is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
And you got to make a decision on how you want to prioritize things. So I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah, the area on the map, which is the farthest from any of the homes, is where the nature garden is, which is kind of like almost where the basketball area is now, although I think that 52 spaces is the basketball court, but that is the farthest from the house. So if there's anything that's going to generate sound, that might be the place to put it. The one thing that's missing that I don't see currently at the park, there are recreational things for kids. There was a jungle gym there and there are other, the playground. I don't see that here anymore. And that's a quiet activity. I think it needs to be built in. I agree with that. Everything in that middle part belongs somewhere else. There is the track, there's the oval track if people want to, run on the track, and there's the exercise station. But that inner part is not appropriate for that area.
Paul Leogran, I agree. I think that's great feedback. I think, with definitely the yoga, the Zen, the walking path, to start with that would make the most sense, 100%. And I think as far as, the basketball, yeah, the layout can all be moved around, right? Maybe basketball doesn't go there because we find that everyone is really taking advantage of the walking path and the gardens, and that's really how this thing lives, right? The phased approach is always going to be the best, and it's going to allow us to really kind of, I mean, here's with the park, we were talking about, if I recall, 120,000 for the park. $120,000,
Oh, just for the playground.
right, for the playground.
Yes, yes.
Right? So I don't know if we need that right away, right? Maybe, again, we build that into the phase and we focus on, we don't have gardens, right? We don't have this kind of scenario. And we know there's a demand for yoga because it's happening every Saturday morning already. So we focus on the yoga and the gardens and that space, and I don't know, maybe we end up not needing invest that money in a park. Who knows?
I think the starting point is we have to figure out where to put the bathrooms, where the county's going to say, or CDD is going to say, here's where the closest plumbing is for that and the closest electric, and then start from there.
Yeah, I mean, zoning is always going to be a consideration. Absolutely.
Yes,
That's-
the bathrooms are gonna be so expensive. No one's putting bathrooms. So,
Yeah.
like the gardens and stuff should be going in there too.
Seems to be phased. You know?
Yeah,
Or you plant some stuff, you put some benches down, a few park benches, yoga stuff.
Yeah.
That's cheap to do. The bathrooms are gonna be, I mean,
well, the buildings
it's
themselves,
like
we
we're
looked at,
duplicating all this stuff. This is all, I think it's a great idea also, but it should be a little separate area at the commons.
You mean the sports?
The sports part of it.
The sports
Yeah,
part?
all that's quiet stuff and you want to walk a path, fine, that's good.
they're prefab
It's all duplicate.
4-holer bathrooms for $80,000 that are
Yeah, there's
designed
stuff
for,
plumbing, you
they're
gotta get
designed for
permits.
parks. Well, I know, but the building itself is 80,000.
Still, 80,000, that's a lot. And then once you get everything done, plumbing, electric, it's 120 at least.
My whole thing is with the sports over at the commons, right? We're gonna have these courts and we're gonna have these big, right? So again, we can't say that there's age restrictions or whatever it is, right? But we're gonna have these big courts. So what happens to the little kids that want to go throw a basketball around, right? And I'm not saying that I'm holding true that it has to go here, but do we have space over at the commons to build that half court then? So they have that space. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't just want to create an area where we have all high school and older
Right.
over at the commons kind of taking over the whole thing.
Well, it's kind of like the playground at the pool.
Right.
We have different age groups. You know,
Right.
For the different playgrounds, and I see this being a spinoff of that. I mean, you have the half court, you got the full court.
Yeah.
You got the lower hoops, you know, so the big kids, I mean, they're just not gonna have that.
Yeah, and that's it. They're just not gonna be interested in going and playing so we build it, so, you know,
It's
it's,
interesting for little kids and that.
Right.
Exactly.
exactly.
And then one last thing, also with your gardens, how are you going to maintain those gardens? Okay,
Well,
throw that in there. You got to think about that. Are you going to get a garden club together?
exactly. So a
So,
subcommittee,
I'm just-
yeah,
You need to,
Yes, that is the thought process.
Right.
Because there are plenty of, I think there are plenty of people that would, I know I've talked to a lot of neighbors that are like, oh my God, I would love to have a garden there. Right? And I think that we get garden clubs involved.
and even
I
over in
think-
West Haven, there's a very big, in our meetings over there, people are constantly, hey, where can we have a little garden? Where can we build? So if we accommodate that for them, people will be very interested in spending time and their own resources and maintaining things. I think that'll be great.
Just have a water supply, irrigation water.
What if we took
Which is
out,
already there, right?
Which they just put in.
what
Are
if,
there sprinklers there? Not really.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so you just tap into those.
Exactly.
this is Dave Ruth again. What if we, took out the baseball diamond and basically the word soccer and I just put the word field? right there. Okay.
Yeah.
And I take everything out of that circle that's called basketball, pickleball, and foursquare and just put paved area. And as we want to develop the paved area, there's a wall there. We need a wall for kids to play against. Okay, I was an only child, so I know that I didn't need another person to catch a ball. Okay, so I can throw the ball against the wall. I can have it, use it for targets or whatever. And just make that a paved area, okay? And then we keep, in that area, we call it yoga, or we call it the Zen garden.
Right.
And where the Zen garden is, it could be yoga. I was thinking that's the only way that we really have somebody using it, identifying what they do it for now. There's a person that goes over there and does yoga. But so to me, that would be a special event. There is noise in a yoga field or a place, but they need something that's a surface that's more than just rough grass. I would think that,
Well,
they
and-
come with mats.
Actually looking
You
at
don't want
this,
to scrape.
where you have, okay, so you've got the circle here.
Yeah.
And you've got a circle here, you could actually make another, path.
Yeah,
And as far as pavement here, for now, I would say ixnay on that,
mhm.
for now.
I'd say put your turf in that circle, Dave.
Okay,
And-
yeah, that's what,
And
either way.
if you'd have two running paths here, with little workout stations, kind of like the other places.
Yeah, you make the workout stations as you
and they
need
can
them, or as you
stretch.
figure it out.
Yeah.
But then this becomes all quiet, right? This all becomes like
Right.
yoga and meditation and everything over here. And then that way later on, if we decide to add anything, you just expand out, right?
Right,
For your
right.
sports.
Well,
Because,
I did this so you guys could get the input that you're giving. I appreciate that. It's-
Where's the
I'm
playground?
not sitting here arguing to
yeah,
do it my
the
way.
playground currently is over here, and there's a swing.
No. Where's the playground in the future plan? One here, where's the
That's gonna
playground?
be the.
The playground's at the commons.
I believe,
So we're getting rid of the playground totally at the fun park?
hold on,
Totally.
hold on. I would like to say, I would like to have a set of swings over here for adults and or kids. Just the swings,
You ain't getting me
because,
on swing, sorry.
well, but there are lovebirds, if it's the right swing.
Yeah.
That are enjoying the
Like
evening
gardens.
over there.
That's-
And they will go take a swing with each other. There are parents with little kids who are doing yoga that would allow their kids to swing on the swings. So I think that there should be a swing set here, just a swing set, not a playground, but just the swing set, because it is quiet, and it's just my opinion. It could fit if it was the
Yeah.
right type of swing.
The problem is the commons area is going to be very, very busy.
Hmm.
And if you've got really little kids and you don't want to have to deal with parking really far from where you gotta go, I think we need to have an auxiliary playground similar to what we have somewhere on here.
Well, I think, Bob, we leave it open about that space at the end to consider that, right?
Right, yeah.
Maybe because I think a big problem that we have is like, we don't start. So I think if we have the space there, we can always say, we know that a playground can go into that space. Because we also have to think about the commons and how that actually is going to expand. Is it going to be busy? We hope so, but we don't really know that yet,
Right.
right? So when we figure out like how that activity is actually working at the commons, we've left ourselves some space here within the path to either take advantage of that for a park, right, for a playground rather, or to move it to the commons if we feel that it's going to be more beneficial there. But we have our options. We don't need to do it all at once. I think just starting with the quiet and the yoga is
And the
going to be,
track.
and the track is going to be a huge win.
I-
See where it grows.
I think that is the way to start.
It's great.
Start it small, not a lot of money,
Right, and then we get
Right.
input from the.
and then once that starts getting popular, you expand on that.
So
Starting,
you want to rephrase what you want to start your prioritization, so I
Yeah.
can,
I think we should start with like a nature garden,
Mhm.
some park benches. Maybe a couple picnic tables, you gotta get lunch out there, whatever, the yoga thing. I think we should start with just that, see how that goes. And expand it from there.
I'd also
I
say
think-
walking path, sorry.
I think we start with a walking path that gets-
Mhm.
sets up a framework
Yep.
for these other zones.
I agree with that.
And then the zones can be developed as we come up
As
with
we
better,
learn.
better ideas and, you know.
And input from the community and neighbors.
You want to start putting in above ground gardens for people? And
Yeah.
then they can rent their spot.
I think the whole garden thing could be started.
Yeah.
Right.
That could be definitely.
I mean, because
the
if
first
we,
phase.
if we have all of this kind of set aside just for, you know, chilled sports activity, and we have the garden set up, I think we're going to get two different types of users, but I think they're going to be cohesive. You know, they're not going to conflict with each other at all. I think they'll,
Mhm.
When Tim was still here, he and I investigated prefab gardens.
Mhm.
And you get prefab garden, all you gotta do is put it on the ground, load it up with dirt. And so those already exist in all sorts of various sizes.
I think that's a wonderful thing to do. I've got, like I said, a lot of neighbors who have already said that they would do it in a heartbeat.
How do you control it?
That's a good
We need
question.
committee, you would definitely need a group to oversee the
Mhm.
gardens and to hold that responsible. And that, I mean, that's just something we probably want to solve for prior to building in these gardens.
Right.
Is there an actual demand? I understand that your neighbors say yes.
Yeah.
Right? But like,
Period.
we need to put that out to the public because it could be very, very nice and it could be very not nice. And then now we're left with a space that is a mess.
We want to sell.
And we don't want to go there.
We don't want to go there.
So I think if we could prove the demand and we present it to CDD that there is, and here's the facts, I think it's a great, great, great idea. Yoga is an easy sell because, again, we've already proved it. It's happening already and a lot
Yeah.
of people are going.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see why even the Zen garden, maybe that's what we do, right? We invest most of the money in making that all set up. And then we invest in clearing out the space and the structure of how the Gateway Gardens would grow.
I agree with you there.
I still think a nature garden, a Florida nature garden, go with a garden club kind of
Oh,
running and
absolutely.
whatever, and maybe even Mainscape helping to design it so they can maintain it. Cause they're paying a lot of money for
Ownership.
for maintaining things around here.
Mhm.
And I have a fairly nice little area that I plant a lot of stuff in, but I'm not out there in the summertime planting things to cultivate it, need it later on. I can go to Publix for that. So, we might be doing two things or thinking two different ways here. And I still think if you have things that identify the type of plants that live in
Sure.
Florida,
Oh,
that we
totally
could
agree.
put in our yards and all
Mhm.
that stuff would be better to me than an area that you're gonna try to charge somebody something else to go over and use and grow things and stuff like that. When I get something grown, somebody's gonna come along and cut it and eat it.
Well, yeah, I think it's like anything else, right? Where we hold control. To think about almost like an HOA, like we hold control of the gardens as the Parks and Rec committee, and then we decide to start bringing people in, right?
No, we don't
we-
have any control. The
Well-
district controls. We only make
I
recommendations to the
understand,
board.
I understand that, right? So we make the recommendations to the CDD that there is a committee that happens to also contain Parks and Rec committee members that will oversee the initial structure and being of the gardens, right? With the intent that we continuously transfer that ownership where we could bring people in to plant their own, provided they understand the rules. Only Floridian, plants and certain structure requirements and all that, but I think could be hugely successful.
When somebody wants to use the soccer fields, they call the office where they go online and they schedule for use of that space and they pay for it. And that's under the control of CDD, well, Parks and Recreation, not the committee, but the actual people that get paid.
Right.
If somebody wants to use a pavilion, they have to go schedule it, they have to pay for it. Comes under the rules of the authority of Parks and Recreation. Why can't the same thing be extended to the gardens? You wanna have a plot. We have plot A is available. It's 6 feet by 8 feet. This is what the cost is. You want to schedule it, call CDD,
Here are the requirements.
you know? So we don't need to reinvent stuff. These folks get paid to do stuff. Let them do stuff. It's not that much more for them to manage. Sorry, if I'm making more work for you, but,
Here's one.
but
Good.
we don't have to get involved with the management.
The CDD
It's already in
people
place.
always ask, how are we gonna maintain? it? How are we
Yes.
gonna keep, you know, a lot of good ideas are thrown away. The commons area, they don't have any idea. Nobody has any idea how that's going to be controlled. Okay, so this is we're not trying to put a fence around this and say, you gotta get a key from the CDD people to let you in.
Yeah.
Okay, this is supposed to be a community park, a place
Right.
for kids to go, be able to go play if they want to, or parents to take them if they want to.
Correct. Just kind of reiterate, so our thoughts are prioritizing it. Your walking path would be kind of your first thought.
Yes.
Some type of Zen gardens type area with maybe a couple park benches, picnic tables, maybe under a couple picnic tables under the trees. And then an area where they could actually do the yoga classes, maybe by the gardens. And just to throw out there, if you're gonna do any type of community type of garden, it will have to be controlled somehow, some way with a fence just around that little garden. Because if you're gonna have people rent plots, they're gonna be the only ones able to walk inside those gardens. I don't know if you've been to Lakes Park, but they're the only ones that walk in there and they can maintain their gardens.
Yeah.
That way nobody takes things,
Right.
does things.
I like that zucchini. I'm gonna steal it.
Exactly.
Well, people have done. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there because
Well, okay, we haven't Paul Leogren, we haven't spoken about, so I can't believe I'm gonna say, security overall in this whole area, right? I mean, I understand we have to secure it to where, you know, we have a standard, I get that, but let's not solve for a problem that doesn't exist either, right? So I have a feeling that the people that are going to be partaking in the garden, we're not growing fruit and vegetables that people can come in and steal, right? The people that are going to partake in the garden probably want to be participating and being in the garden.
yeah, there's 2 gardens.
But they're talking
I'm
about
talking
the
to-
one where you rent it out and make a point.
There's 2 gardens.
Oh, okay, right.
Not-
that's
I'm
what that-
I
talking, you
understand.
got your butterfly gardens
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
where you have
Okay.
your little homeowners and they have like a little committee.
Right.
And then you have your actual gardens where you want to plant maybe tomatoes
Oh,
or
God.
fruits
You
or
want
whatever.
plant just your, okay,
Yes.
understood.
I think that second one, this is Dave Ruth, I think
Yeah.
that second one can be in the commons area. 'Cause you got a fence around it, okay? You got fences around everything in the commons area.
Tomatoes aren't gonna
This
like
doesn't-
that noise.
This doesn't need to be over here.
So I'm just,
See, I'm very
Florida
familiar
Nature
with the
Garden can
Franklin
be over
Gardens in Philadelphia,
And you need
They have
water
hundreds in there.
and all kinds of stuff.
and they're not
Which
fenced at
is
all.
additional plumbing. Yes. Which if we're worried about doing the plumbing first.
I mean, I don't
I
think
think
people are
gardens
gonna
go-
go steal stuff.
I do. I think gardens go with the gardens, right? Like.
I mean, I don't think they
I
will.
think hot
Well,
sun says they're all crazy.
okay,
I'm gonna recommend that we start with the track, the yoga, you know, the double circles, a nature garden and a Zen garden. And then we'll figure out if there's actually,
The individual
Plot
plot.
demand.
Yeah.
yeah,
the demand
yeah,
for
I
it,
mean,
yeah.
do we have enough people that even want to do that?
Right,
Really,
Yeah.
you know, they say they do, but when, you know, rubber hits the
Yeah.
road,
Exactly. What happens when we have all this space and we have 3 people?
Yeah, exactly.
Some people
Yeah.
don't even water their yards and they're playing.
Thank you.
So,
Right. So we know we have the space. We build what we want to start with.
Yeah.
Well, and then people, it'll attract people.
And you build on that.
Okay,
So I also want to throw out an idea, a thought here. I know you said picnic tables, and I'm not opposed to that at all, at all. What I want to throw in there,
But-
there's an and,
okay,
and I would like to see at least 2 small tables with chessboards. I-
Yes.
that's what these 4 areas are. You put one in there, whatever you
Checker.
want, but I think
Yeah.
what you're saying is what I was thinking. Four
Gotcha.
chairs, you can play cards, you can
Yeah,
play chess, you can
right.
play checkers,
You can read a
you
book.
can sit there and read a book.
Or you
you
could
know,
do the
and-
tables that have them built in too, right?
Well, that's what I'm talking
That's what
about.
you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Combination.
And then they're always there. You bring your pieces.
right.
So I have a question for Kelly. The additional 52 spaces is going to be a rather big expenditure. And if we're doing this in phases, should we count on working with what we currently have, not doing anything with that 52 car space, keep it green for now, but plan in the other areas?
No, because
Well, there's a
you have the
basketball.
walking
I-
path.
That's
that
where
I
the
would-
basketball court is.
I would say yes, because that's where the basketball court is right now. And if you want to add, I mean, there's room in between, but if you ever want to add, it's probably also better to add, because you want to, it's a park, you want to keep it as green as possible, okay? Instead of asphalt or concrete, how about grass parking?
Like you
Yeah.
have at the Commons now.
Yeah.
Yes. That way, if you needed to, you could always use that area,
Mhm.
okay?
Right.
And you're
or
not,
something, yeah.
yes, and it permeates down in the ground and not sitting on top, so less concrete, and it's
Mhm.
better for the park.
I would absolutely say yes. to
Makes
that.
Okay,
Because it's already graded so that it goes down, drains. I mean,
Yeah, just another area for fire ants. that you're gonna have to-
So we're saying we're gonna have the 14 parking spots and we'll do in that area whatever we decide on the basketball court. The basketball court could stay for right now
yeah,
until they get the other one.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking 5 years before the commons is
exactly,
completed.
exactly.
So this gives us a chance to do something here.
Right.
That's what I like about it.
Mhm.
It's an in-between step.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's not gonna take
Yeah.
years to plan a garden.
Right.
No, right, exactly.
Permitting and all the other stuff.
It's relatively.
And you could, I mean,
quick.
you
Right.
could make squares on the basketball court and just plant over top of that, if you bring in those things
We could,
that they're.
You could,
That
right.
Tim and
can
Bob
make
are
my
talking about.
chessboard on the basketball court.
Right.
But you have to
Platform.
pave it again, $18,000.
Just a little paint.
So I have a question for Kelly. Is it a good idea really eliminating the playground from the fun park, even though there's going to be one at the other?
It's done.
I don't know. I'm actually, we did the report on, the inspector did the report on the playground. The only thing that was right now that's seen that needed repair was the actual ADA ramp.
Yeah.
And the swings, which I already got the swings, so they're gonna be putting those up. And maybe a slide, but I haven't checked the price. I'm checking the price on the slide and the tic-tac-toe thing. So everything else is still in working order. So I would not do anything to take that out right now,
Yeah,
because
tell
I
the
can
other-
tell you every time I go over there, there are children there.
Now or forever? I mean, I think having two playgrounds is
There's
better
nothing
than
wrong with,
than just one.
yeah. And the swings are awesome because I'm always seeing kids on swings. They love the
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
swings. And I just got that all redone. The surface has been redone. It's
Yeah.
pushing now.
Great.
So, it's safe. And that's where I have to be. I have to be safe
Right.
at that playground. So right now, that's
So-
what I'm doing.
So
We
can
can
we
leave it.
maintain the playground and still continue on with all this? Because also that's gonna prove concept for us as well with the noise situation, right? Are the people not going to the gardens because they feel it's too noisy with the playground? Oh, okay, so then that's good. I don't think so, right? But at that
Right.
point, then we could decide, do we invest when it comes to to that time improving the playground there? Or do we rip it out and move it over to the commons with everything else?
Or do we do both?
Or,
But
right,
we've
or
already-
whatever the need is.
We were already spending a lot of money on the playground at the Commons. And
Right.
that was part of the discussion, was how much money that was gonna cost. And we wanted to get rid of this other one, so we didn't have to maintain both of them.
Right. So,
So, I thought there's a playground at the soccer fields, there's a playground at the Commons. And that's like, to me, the tail wagging the dog. That's a nice area. Okay, that's probably, that one corner is nicer than any part of the site because the trees are huge. And very nice to sit underneath, those trees and think and talk and
Yeah.
whatever. So,
On soccer Saturdays and Sundays, the utilization of playground is zilch because you can't find a place to park because of all the soccer folks.
and they go to the Commons. One of the,
Yeah.
that was the.
Timeline wise,
Again, that's way down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
No point in discussing.
Right.
timeline wise, when do you think a playground would be at the Commons?
Well, I think we're waiting to get plans. You gotta have permits, plans, and they're not gonna do any breaking ground probably till the beginning of next year.
Okay,
And that's just gonna be to make sure, level everything out
Right.
and then everything has to be a certain way before that playground goes in, and that'll be right next door to the pool. So it'll be easy access.
so
I wouldn't.
so
expect
things
it
that are not very expensive relatively are gardens. And like the Zen Garden area and Victory Gardens, not very expensive things to provide to the community. Or even putting in a gravel path, however you want to do it. I would like to know if CDD, I still think somewhere along the line, they're going to get a bathroom there. I would like to know what underground plumbing and electric is available so we know where that bathroom on this picture could go.
I don't think there's any there yet. Right?
Well, there's
Plumbing and electric.
electric. I don't
Well,
know.
there's-
I don't know where the underground plumbing
There's-
is.
There's homes along all of this side. There's church, I mean, it's gotta
Yeah,
be
but
nearby
but
somewhere.
I think
Yeah.
bathrooms are, again, are down the line. Like, we need to prove that people are going to use the area for what we're intending it to be used for first, right? And when it comes time to, there's a concern that people would sit in the garden longer if there were bathrooms there, we address it. We can't try and solve for problems that don't exist yet. I agree. Would it be perfect if there were bathrooms there? Absolutely. Do we need to do that in phase one?
No.
I don't think so. I think we need to settle on what the intent of phase one is. What's the next step with that right now? So we
Yeah.
can move this along.
I agree.
Well, from a personal standpoint, I don't use the fun park because there is no bathroom there. I do go to the Commons, there's a bathroom there. I do go to the soccer fields, there's a bathroom there. I don't do anything over at the fun park.
Gotcha.
Cussed out with that.
Is there any, right?
Set?
Go to number 8.
Yeah, the member items and reports, we have to decide if we're gonna meet for the summer or if we wanna take the next 2 months off. Is anybody gonna be gone for, July and August? Or you guys wanna meet like normal?
Do we need to meet? That's the question.
Wait.
Gonna meet, or are we gonna?
Well, what's the intent on this?
Agenda.
If we're looking to push this forward now, then
Right.
yes, we would want to meet. If we're okay with letting this sit to September, then okay.
Are we gonna have enough items to, this is Carrie again, we're gonna have enough items to meet on for July and August? That's what you need to kind of make that decision.
Well, the only item we have right now is just this.
Yeah.
Is there anything else going on as far as budgeting or like that? No, right?
Unless we want to have a meeting, a debriefing meeting after the town hall.
You guys have to decide.
Well, then you guys wanna meet over the summer?
I'm good.
I know that 4th of July week, I'm not gonna be available
No, well, what's
Right,
our
yeah,
next
right.
meeting date in July? Supposed to be
at the 2nd.
July 2nd?
That's a no-go.
Yeah, that's.
No, that's not happening.
So what do we yeah. we
Why
could
don't
just-
we meet in August? Could we just meet
Yeah.
in August?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
So that's gonna be what,
So our
The
next
6th.
is the 6th. That's already on the schedule.
August 6th?
Yeah.
August 6th at 1:30. So why don't we
Yeah.
keep that?
Got motion about canceling. July.
I make a motion to cancel July's meeting.
Paul Leogrand, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the next meeting date is gonna be August 6th at 1:30.
I thought the July meeting was in the evening.
Right, we're gonna, that's the town hall, so we're gonna keep that. That's on the 26th.
Town hall.
Oh, you're saying, okay,
Yeah.
I got you. I thought the July meeting was the evening. Okay. This will be at 1:30 then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, wait,
Meeting
Harry,
July.
wait, Dave is right. So we have Parks and Rec Town Hall scheduled for June 26th, Wednesday night at 6 PM.
Mhm.
But then we also have a PrAC meeting at 6 PM scheduled for July 2nd.
Which I think we said we were gonna cancel because of the holiday. That's what we just.
Okay.
said.
We're saying the evening.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Should the next August meeting be in the evening or should it be in the, so people can come?
It's already on the schedule as 1:30.
Yeah, I think we're
Well,
gonna
if
leave
it's
it
the sixth,
1:30.
it's already there.
I don't care what the schedule is.
I'm just gonna let everyone know that if there is an evening on a Tuesday evening, I'm always at hockey, so I will never be able to come on a Tuesday night, which is okay. I'm just letting, I don't want, it's not that I don't want to be here, but I want to be with my kid.
We're trying-
you know,
We're trying to make it where people can come
Can
from
come.
the community too.
Yeah,
okay, so that,
and I think August 6th would be a terrible evening meeting. Everyone's getting ready for school to start and things like that. I'm beyond, like, if we were trying to
It
do
would-
evening,
It'd
we're
be-
not gonna draw a crowd on
No.
August 6th. I mean, there's gonna be, that week alone, there will be open houses almost every night. It'll be a really busy
Yeah,
time.
we could say,
so then it lines
Look, I
up.
wanna
September
say
meeting has to
September.
be in the evening.
That is,
Yeah.
the September one is in the evening.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, so it kind of lines up. If we just skip
Yeah,
July.
sixth is an
Okay.
afternoon.
Yeah, so
August 6th. Yeah.
August 6th.
He was saying July,
Right.
it was supposed to be an evening,
September.
which I don't think anyone would come, so we hang out with our flock. Oh,
It's gonna take them a while to summarize,
Yeah,
you know, all the stuff from the town hall.
all right, so we're good with that. With the
August
August 6th at 1:30. All right, so the next agenda,
6 o'clock.
next meeting's
Thank you.
agenda is just gonna be
Keep
the
reading.
rest of this, and then a discussion about the town hall meeting.
Right.
Anybody else have anything to add to that agenda?
Mhm.
No?
Not at this time.
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, there's no one else online that joined us, right?
there was just Angela, and she said she didn't have any comments.
Right.
Anybody else?
There was no comments from the public. So I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the meeting. What?
We're missing people for a few meetings now, right? Is there an issue?
She's on vacation.
Oh,
I know that
oh.
she's traveling.
Okay. I know I missed last week. Last time. I want to
She's always
apologize for that too.
She probably won't be here. But I know.
She traveled a lot. in the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize. I missed I was in class, so glad to be back. That's all.
So I will make a motion to adjourn today's meeting. on
So moved.
August 6th at 1:30.
Robert Lewis, so moved. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.